From the raw power of Bianca Belair to the chaotic charm of Liv Morgan and the legendary glamour of Trish Stratus, the WWE roster has always been stacked with absolute showstoppers. Today we are breaking down the queens of the ring who have defined beauty and dominance in sports entertainment. First up is Bianca Belair. When she calls herself the strongest, fastest, and toughest, she isn't just hyping herself up, she is stating facts. This woman has completely flipped the script on what it looks like to be a top-tier female athlete in this business. Her spot on this list proves that the industry's standard for attractiveness has shifted way beyond just a pretty face. It is about power now. With an athletic pedigree that would make Olympic gold medalists jealous, Bianca hit the scene with a vibe we had never seen before. She didn't just walk into the WWE, she kicked the door down. You rarely see a physique like that in the women's division. She is built different. She is sculpted like a statue, showing exactly how much sweat equity she pours into the gym every single day. But here is the secret sauce that separates her from the pack. She blends that beast mode strength with high fashion aesthetics and a swagger that is impossible to copy. And we can't talk about the EST without mentioning the braid. That signature hair is basically a character of its own, just as famous as any belt she has ever held. It is not just a look, it is a legitimate weapon of mass destruction inside the squared circle. Watching her use it like a whip during her entrance is pure box office entertainment. What really puts her over the top is how she balances that superhuman strength with a megawatt smile. She has this magnetic glow that lights up the screen the second the cameras start rolling. With a trophy case full of championships, she has cemented her status as the face of the division. Her social media game is strong too, letting fans see the discipline and style behind the superstar. There is no doubt the EST belongs right here at the top. Fans on Reddit and Bleacher Report agree she is elite. Please smash that like button if you think Bianca is the GOAT, so she can get the recognition she deserves. While Bianca brings the power, our next pick mixes that classic blonde look with a twisted personality that fans are absolutely obsessed with. Liv Morgan. If you have been watching the product lately, you know Liv has had one of the craziest glow-ups in wrestling history. She went from being overlooked to being the name on everyone's lips, earning her keep on this list. Born Giona de Dio, she definitely started with that prototypical superstar look. She has always had that vibe that turns heads in the arena. We are talking flowing blonde locks and a gym-honed frame that the cameras absolutely love. But Liv isn't just another pretty face. She has a gritty, rebellious side that separates her from the alumni. You can see the chaos brewing behind her eyes. It is that toxic mix of innocent charm and unhinged danger that the WWE Universe can't get enough of. Her recent revenge tour and her stint with the Judgment Day faction unlocked a version of Liv we were all dying to see. The manic laughter, the wild energy, she finally grabbed the brass ring and ran with it. She crafted a persona that is equal parts scary and mesmerizing. Plus, her motor never stops. She attacks every promo and match with 100% passion. As a multi-time champ, she has silenced the haters and proved she can hang with the heavy hitters. She isn't just a looker, she is a legitimate threat between the ropes. Online, she is a powerhouse, sharing her unique fashion and personality with the world. She builds a bond with her followers that feels legit, not corporate. In a world of scripted drama, Liv Morgan feels authentically chaotic. The 2026 era has been huge for her, with her viral moments taking over the internet as she continues to evolve. She is constantly topping the most beautiful lists on sites like Ranker for a reason. Now, if Liv is chaotic, our next star is a straight-up nightmare in the best way possible. She has completely rewritten the rulebook on attraction. Rhea Ripley. We are about to discuss someone who shatters every stereotype in the book. And honestly, that is precisely why she owns a spot on this list. We are talking about the Australian nightmare, the undisputed Mami of the industry. Rhea Ripley. Born Demi Bennett, she hasn't just participated in the game, she has completely rewritten the dictionary on what magnetism looks like in pro wrestling. We are way past the era where female competitors were forced into a cookie-cutter diva mold to get noticed. Ripley took a sledgehammer to those old standards, rocking a muscular tattooed frame that screams absolute dominance and grit. Her gothic aesthetic, that terrifyingly commanding aura, and the Mami character have solidified her as perhaps the most buzzed-about star of this entire generation. What gets fans hooked isn't just the look, it's the swagger that oozes from every single pore of her body. When she stomps down the ramp, it is impossible to look anywhere else. That chiseled physique is proof of the insane grind she puts in behind the scenes. And the ink covering her skin. Those are battle scars and stories of a woman living by her own rules, unapologetically celebrating her true self. That level of authenticity is a magnet in a business that often feels a bit too scripted. As a multi-time women's world champion with title reigns that felt historic, Ripley has the gold to match the attitude. Her runs through 2026, including tearing it up with EO Sky and headlining massive premium live events, have showcased a rare ability to blend terrifying power with serious allure. On paper, it sounds like a clash of styles, but in the ring, it is pure magic. Throughout 2026, we have seen Ripley's stock on the hottest stars lists go through the roof. The reason is straightforward: she is the new standard. She is living proof that being dangerous makes you even more captivating. That rebellious energy and global icon status resonate with everyone who loves a star that refuses to stay in a box. Fan polls on Ranker consistently praise her gothic vibe, while Bleacher Report has tracked her unstoppable ascent to the top. Rhea Ripley is a trailblazer, and putting her here is just acknowledging that the fans' taste has officially evolved. Now, while Ripley rules with intimidation, our next pick shows that sometimes the most lethal threats come in tiny packages. Alexa Bliss. Here is a woman who dubbed herself the Goddess. And let's be real, nobody is filing a complaint about that nickname. Bliss has been crushing the beauty polls all through 2026, sitting pretty at the top of fan rankings, making her spot on this countdown mandatory. Born Alexis Cabrera, she is the ultimate evidence that you shouldn't judge a book by its size. She might be petite, but she commands that arena like a giant the second her music hits. It is that lethal combination. Porcelain Doll features the signature blonde locks and a smile that flips from sweet to psychotic in a split second. Plus, we have to mention those washboard abs that have gone viral on social media more times than we can count. Alexa Bliss has curated a look that burns itself into your memory. But here is the secret sauce: she balances being adorable and absolutely vicious better than almost anyone else in the game. One second she is skipping down the aisle looking innocent. The next, she is planting a DDT and standing over her opponent with a glare that could freeze hell over. Smash that like button if you think her character work is some of the best in the business. That versatility keeps everyone glued to the screen. Her return to action in 2026 was nothing short of electric, with a Royal Rumble reaction that nearly blew the roof off. Her tag title run with Charlotte Flair proved her athleticism has only leveled up, adding a new layer of theatrics to her game. Bliss didn't just return to the roster. She kicked the door down, and the fan base was there for every second of it. You also can't ignore her digital footprint. She has one of the strongest social media games of any active competitor. Her ability to bond with the audience and show off her personal style keeps her name in the hottest conversation, even when she takes a break from the ring. Alexa Bliss is the total package. She has the skills, the mic work, the look, and that it factor you simply cannot teach. The Goddess lives up to the hype, and with over 19,000 fan votes backing her, she remains the gold standard. Speaking of breaking the mold, our next entry took the industry by storm with an alternative vibe that proved you don't need to be a traditional cover model to run the show. Ajay Lee. This is the woman who brought a totally unique flavor to the table. She proved that geek chic and unconventional charisma could make you the most magnetic person in the entire stadium. All right, everyone, strap in because we need to discuss the absolute force of nature known as Ajay Lee. Born April Mendez, she smashed the mold, offering a gritty punk rock rebellion against the polished, super glam aesthetic that had suffocated the division for so long. With her combat boots, signature tattoos, and that petite build, she crafted a persona that was equal parts nerdy and unhinged. It was a perfect storm that delivered something totally fresh to a women's division desperate for substance. She never tried to fit the cookie-cutter mold. She was raw, real, and completely unapologetic, which is exactly why the crowd worshipped her. And don't get it twisted, her resume inside the squared circle is nothing short of legendary. We are talking about a 3-time champion who held the gold for a staggering 406 days, proving she was a lethal technician who could out-wrestle practically anyone. Every match had purpose. Every move told a story, and her mic skills, she could verbally eviscerate opponents in ways no one else could touch. She was the total package, possessing a depth of character that was practically non-existent in that era. But let's be real, what hooked the audience was that chaotic, crazy chick energy she leaned into so heavily. One minute she's giving you the puppy dog eyes, the next she's staring right through your soul. It was an edgy psychological game that felt disturbingly authentic. That fire she spat every time she grabbed a headset wasn't scripted. It was relatable rage and passion. A J connected because she was the anti-diva, the voice of authenticity in a world built on spray tans and plastic smiles. Even though she walked away from the ring way too early due to personal reasons, she's been open about. Her shadow still looms large over the industry, influencing the game long after her departure. She rewrote the rulebook, proving that magnetism comes from attitude and talent, not just hitting a genetic lottery. By shattering the glass ceiling for the alternative girls, she showed the world that charisma doesn't have a single look. To this day, online forums and Reddit threads are still buzzing about her unmatched legacy. Smash that like button if you think the division hasn't been the same since she left. But while AJ was the queen of the alternative scene, our next icon swings the pendulum to pure, unadulterated luxury. Enter the embodiment of French-Canadian excellence and high-class snobbery, Maryse Ouellet. Listen when the conversation turns to sophistication and that untouchable runway ready aura that makes you feel like you're watching a Fashion Week show instead of a wrestling match. Maryse is in a league of her own. She kicked the door down by winning the Diva Search back in 2007 and never looked back. From the second the cameras rolled, it was obvious we were dealing with a superstar. That flawless dark hair, cheekbones sharp enough to cut glass, and a silhouette that she carried with the confidence of Hollywood royalty. It all came together to forge an image of classic icy beauty that reached far beyond the ring. But the secret sauce. It was her legitimate history in the fashion world before she ever took a bump. Maryse wasn't pretending. She had years of high-stakes modeling experience under her belt. You could see that polish in every single movement she made. The strut, the hair flip, that signature look of absolute disgust she gave the crowd. It was character work at its finest. Her persona as the arrogant French-Canadian elitist made her the villain you couldn't help but watch. She projected this vibe of being completely out of everyone's league, which only skyrocketed her allure. Don't let the mascara fool you, though. As a two-time champion, she proved she could go when the bell rang. She injected a dose of high-end glamour into the company right when the product was starving for that specific aesthetic. And she delivered it with a biting wit and charisma that left her rivals in the dust. What is truly wild is how she has managed to stay relevant for so long. Popping up alongside her husband, The Miz, she keeps reminding the fan base that she hasn't lost a step since her full-time days. Every cameo is a masterclass in screen presence, reigniting that fandom instantly. That effortless command of the spotlight and sophisticated charm, it's just as potent now as it was a decade ago. Maryse is living proof that class and attitude are timeless. Her spot as one of the most stunning talents in history is cemented, regularly topping the all-time lists from major outlets like Total Shape. Now, if Maryse was the ice queen of the runway, this next star was the ultimate high-energy heartthrob, the quintessential girl next door turned superstar Kelly Kelly. We are talking about someone who burst onto the scene and essentially defined an entire generation of television. The unforgettable Barbie Blank, better known to the world as Kelly Kelly. She burst onto the scene back in 2006 via the Diva Search, hitting ECW with barely there outfits and a flexible style that instantly grabbed everyone's attention. From the very first second she stepped in front of a camera, you could tell she had that magic touch, a lethal combo of flawless looks and a natural vibe you just couldn't ignore. She was basically the living, breathing definition of the perfect cheerleader physique. With platinum blonde hair glistening under the bright arena lights and a body sculpted by years of intense gymnastics and modeling. Plus an endless tank of energy that made her super fun to watch, whether she was bumping in the ring or doing a skit backstage. Her steamy exhibitionist routines during the early ECW days became absolute appointment viewing, pushing the envelope in a way that got everybody talking about the brand. But don't get it twisted, Kelly was way more than just a pretty face. She actually snagged the Divas Championship and became the poster girl for that high-energy, fun-loving glam of the late 2000s. Fans totally fell for her girl-next-door sweetness. She felt real and approachable in a way a lot of the other untouchable stars didn't. At the same time, she had this fearless confidence that let her own the moment no matter how bright the spotlight got. Her figure, honed by her modeling and gymnastics roots, was the highlight of every bikini contest and dance-off during her WWE run. She was a permanent fixture in every hottest wrestler ranking you could find. Even years after hanging up her boots, Kelly is still a massive favorite in the polls when people talk about the most stunning women to ever grace the industry. Even in retirement, she's a total fan favorite who perfectly captures the best vibes of her era. She is a lock for the top 10 lists and fantasy drafts of all time. Before we move on, please, like the video if you want to see more legends return in 2026. Now, if Kelly stole hearts with that youthful bounce, our next icon brought that West Coast heat, backing it up with a fitness pro's body and a smile that could power a city. We are talking about Torrie Wilson. Diving deeper into our list, we land on a stunner who brought pure California sunshine to the ring and became a certified legend of the early 2000s. Folks, give it up for the one and only Torrie Wilson. Torrie kicked things off in WCW back in 1999 before really hitting superstar status in WWE. From day one, she embodied a specific kind of beauty that had millions of fans worldwide completely obsessed. Coming from the world of fitness modeling, she brought a level of athletic polish that clearly set her apart. We're talking about that athletic blonde look, shredded abs that looked photoshopped, and a beaming smile that could light up the biggest stadiums. But what really made Torrie stand out was that wholesome yet sexy energy she brought to the table. She had that rare gift of being the dream girl you might actually talk to while simultaneously being totally out of your league. Imagine running into a supermodel at your local coffee shop who actually smiles back. That was her vibe. And she wasn't afraid to push boundaries to cement her status as an icon. Torrie graced the cover of Playboy twice, showing off her insane physique in a way that broke sales records and created massive hype for the company. Her career was packed with highlights from bikini matches to heated rivalries, like that unforgettable drama with Dawn Marie, plus countless segments where her down-to-earth beauty really connected with the crowd. What everyone always loved about Torrie was just how effortless her charm was. Nothing about her felt fake or scripted. She looked like she was genuinely having a blast and loved entertaining the fans, which just made her even more attractive. Her fitness roots gave her legitimacy, making her a regular on every hottest divas list and magazine feature of her time. Even though she retired back in 2008, her legend has only grown since then. In forums and polls, people still praise her for mixing athleticism with that classic pinup look that defined a generation. Her legacy is cemented across the Total Shape rankings and every all-time great list you can find. While Torrie had that California glow, our next entry took physical uniqueness to a whole new level. We are talking about a woman whose legendary 42-inch legs became the most famous assets in WWE history. Stacy Keibler. Here we have a star whose look became so iconic and legendary that it literally defined her entire career in the business. Standing tall at a statuesque 5'11", she brought a whole new meaning to the phrase "legs for days," boasting a record-breaking inseam. Measuring 42 inches. Stacy Keibler wasn't just a wrestler, she was the walking, talking definition of runway perfection. But before she was turning heads inside the ring, Stacy was already lighting up stadiums in a different arena. Starting out as a Baltimore Ravens cheerleader, she had that killer mix of athleticism and showmanship, plus, let's be real, stunning looks that made her a natural fit for sports entertainment. She kicked things off in WCW back in the year 2000, eventually making the jump to the big leagues in WWE. The second she stepped onto the scene, she captivated everyone. Nobody else on the roster looked quite like her. While others were muscular or petite, Stacy brought this long, elegant vibe that was completely fresh for the fans. With those golden locks, that graceful poise, and those endless legs, she became an instant sensation, sparking storylines and obsessions solely based on her incredible physique. WWE knew exactly what they had, showcasing her assets in edgy segments that, love them or hate them, definitely grabbed eyeballs. From ring entrances that emphasized her legs to bikini showdowns and dance-offs channeling her cheer days. Everything she did cemented a sultry image that has been burned into the memories of fans forever. Sure, she wasn't a technical wizard on the mat like some others, but when it came to pure allure, Stacy was in a league of her own. Crowds went wild every time she appeared, and the mainstream media wasn't far behind. She was everywhere, smashing sales for Maxim and stuff, constantly ranking #1 on hottest lists throughout the early 2000s. But Stacy wasn't just your standard wrestling pinup, she had a special X factor. She balanced this girl-next-door charm with high-end sophistication, making her stand out against the grittier divas of the time. It was that mix of pep squad energy and red carpet glam that made her feel both relatable and like a total fantasy. She was the ultimate dream girl who also seemed cool enough to grab a drink with. And honestly, fans just couldn't get enough of that vibe. After hanging up her boots, she crushed it in Hollywood and modeling, not to mention a certain celebrity romance that kept the paparazzi busy for ages. Even so, the wrestling community still holds a candle for her. Even now, in 2026, check any online forum or best of list, and you'll find Stacy's name right near the top for changing the game on glamour. Stacy might hold the record for the longest legs, but the woman taking our #1 spot brings something even heavier to the table. Drop a like on the video if you grew up crushing on these icons. It really helps the channel grow. We are talking about a 20-year legacy built on unmatched beauty killer athleticism and off-the-charts charisma. Trish Stratus. We have finally reached the summit of our list. The absolute queen, the gold standard every female superstar since, has been chasing the bar she set. Drumroll please, the hottest female wrestler in history is the legendary Trish Stratus, born Patricia Ann Strategius back in December 1975 in Toronto. Even in 2026, nobody touches Trish when it comes to iconic status and appeal. She started out slaying the fitness modeling game where her ripped physique and stunning face made her an instant star in a cutthroat business. WWE scooped her up in March 2000 originally just to manage the team TNA. But the moment she walked out, everyone knew we were looking at a future icon. The Stratusfaction effect was real and legendary. With her flowing blonde hair and that perfectly sculpted fitness model body, she literally wrote the book on the modern diva look. Her eyes told the whole story, whether she was being seductive, determined, or absolutely furious. She had this confident swagger that defined not just the Attitude Era, but the Ruthless Aggression Era too. But here is the thing that puts Trish in a class by herself. She refused to just be eye candy. She grinded in the ring until she became one of the best technical wrestlers of her time, racking up 7 women's championships, a record back then. And earning a Hall of Fame ring in 2013, she transformed the division from sideshow to serious athletics. Her highlight reel is practically endless. From the risque matches that pushed TV limits, to that iconic entrance walk that every fan has tried to copy at least once. She dominated newsstands, selling out countless magazine covers and special editions. Just when you thought she was done, she would come back and tear the house down against Lita Victoria or even Charlotte Flair at SummerSlam 2019, proving she is the eternal GOAT. Trish Stratus didn't just set the bar. She became the undisputed blueprint for every generation of women stepping between those ropes. Massive stars like Alexa Bliss have been open about how Trish shaped their entire careers, influencing everything from their technical skills to how they work the crowd. Even today, with her returns to WWE television in 2026, she proves that her star power hasn't faded one bit. She is still effortlessly crushing the competition in those legacy popularity polls, staying relevant with a consistency that is honestly hard to beat. Please drop a like on this video to help us keep these legends in the spotlight. The reason she stays undefeated on this list is that unmatched mix of Hollywood glamour and genuine athletic grit that nobody else has managed to duplicate. She refused to just be a pretty face, flipping the script from eye candy to absolute powerhouse, evolving from a valet into a main event legend. It really doesn't matter which leaderboard you look at or which era you are comparing. Trish is the constant #1. Whether you are scrolling through the all-time best lists on Ranker or reading the legacy breakdowns from Bleacher Report and the Sportster, she reigns supreme. Thanks for hanging out with us. Make sure to click one of the videos on your screen to keep the marathon going.